I wake before my alarm, the pale blue of early morning seeping through my curtains. The familiar weight of Jasper, my gray tabby, presses against my legs as I reach for my phone. It's 5:43 a.m. My body's internal clock is more reliable than any device. I slide out of bed, careful not to disturb Jasper's slumber, and pad to the kitchen where I put the kettle on for tea. Earl Grey, no sugar, just a splash of milk, the same way I've taken it for the past decade. My apartment is small but meticulously organized. Plants line the windowsill, succulents, pothos, and a stubborn orchid that refuses to bloom despite my careful attention. I water them according to their schedule, noting which ones need fertilizer this week in the gardening journal I've kept since college. Organization has always been my refuge, my way of creating certainty in a world that offers little. As the sky lightens, I sit at my small dining table, tea in hand, and open my planner. Today's entry is marked with a small star, Rebecca's final, dress fitting. Not my dress fitting, of course. I'm just there to hold pins, offer opinions that will be politely acknowledged then disregarded, and make sure everyone stays hydrated and fed, the reliable one, the organized one, the invisible one. The kettle whistles, pulling me from my thoughts. Outside, raindrops begin to speckle my window, mirroring the constant patter of tasks I juggle for others. I touch the small silver gardenia, brooch pinned to my robe, a gift from Rebecca on my 25th birthday. Gardenias mean secret love, she had said with a wink. Back when I thought our friendship meant something profound. Rebecca and I have been friends since our sophomore year of college, when we were randomly assigned as chemistry lab partners. She was everything I wasn't, effortlessly beautiful with her cascade of auburn hair and infectious laugh that made everyone turn to look. Even then, I sensed the pattern forming. She would forget to prepare for our experiments, and I would stay up all night researching so we wouldn't fail. She would get the compliments for our presentation while my contribution went unnoticed. "Maya's the brains. I'm just the pretty face," she would say, and everyone would laugh, including me. Somehow, that dynamic never changed. She would glow. I would support. She would forget. I would remember. She would dream. I would execute. Remember the night Daniel proposed to her? It was at my apartment, during a dinner party I had spent 3 days preparing. I had helped him plan every detail, the timing, the music, the exact moment to drop to one knee. I even held the ring for safekeeping until he arrived. "You're the only one I trust with this," he had said, his eyes warm with gratitude as he handed me the small velvet box. "You're always so dependable." Dependable. The word follows me like a shadow, a compliment that feels increasingly like a life sentence. After she said yes and the champagne was flowing, Rebecca grabbed my hands, her eyes bright with tears. "You have to be my maid of honor," she insisted. "No one else could do it. You're my rock, Maya." I agreed, of course. Rocks don't say no. The months that followed were a blur of wedding planning. I created spreadsheets, contacted vendors, mediated family disagreements, and kept Rebecca's stress at bay. I was always the first one she called, sometimes at midnight when she had a new idea or concern. I organized her engagement party, planned her bachelorette weekend, and assembled her wedding website with carefully chosen photos and heartfelt stories, all while working full-time as a botanical garden curator, a position that demanded precision and care much like my role in Rebecca's life. 3 weeks ago, Rebecca and I met for coffee at our usual spot. The morning was unusually warm for April, the kind of day that promises summer's approach. I arrived 15 minutes early, as always, securing our favorite corner table and ordering her usual, vanilla latte with an extra shot and almond milk. She arrived 20 minutes late, as always, but something was different. Her smile seemed rehearsed, her eyes avoiding mine as she slid into the seat across from me. "I've been thinking," she began, stirring her coffee unnecessarily. Cassidy is back in town. Cassidy Parker, Rebecca's friend from high school who had moved to Paris after graduation to pursue modeling. The name sent a small chill through me. She's doing so well now, did you see her spread in Vanity Fair? Rebecca continued. Anyway, she's going to be here until the wedding, and she's offered to help with everything. I nodded, not yet understanding where this was going. That's nice. I could use some help with the centerpieces. Rebecca looked up then, her expression a mixture of pity and determination. The thing is, Maya, I've been looking at the wedding party photos from Jen's wedding. You know how important the visual is for Daniel's family, with his mother being such a prominent socialite. My stomach tightened. I set down my tea, suddenly aware of the garish chip on the mug's handle. Cassidy has offered to be my maid of honor, she said, the words tumbling out now. And I think it makes sense. The photos will be more balanced with her standing next to me. She already knows what colors complement my complexion, and she's got connections for the bachelorette that could get us into places I've been dreaming about. The cafe continued its mundane symphony, espresso machines hissing, customers chatting, spoons clinking against ceramic. But I heard it all as if underwater. I'm sorry, what? I finally managed. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Rebecca said, reaching for my hand. I pulled back instinctively. You're still a bridesmaid, of course. You're still my best friend. It's just, Cassidy makes more sense aesthetically. And honestly, you seem so stressed with all the planning. I thought you might be relieved. I stared at her, searching for any sign that this was a poorly conceived joke. Her eyes held only self-centered sincerity. Aesthetically, I repeated, the word feeling foreign on my tongue. You know what I mean, she said, dismissive now. You're beautiful in your own way, but Cassidy is... I know exactly what Cassidy is, I cut in, my voice steadier than I felt. And I know exactly what I am to you now. Rebecca sighed dramatically. This is why I was dreading telling you. You always take things so personally. The final blow, making her cruelty my fault. I stood up, gathering my bag and the leather-bound wedding planner I had meticulously maintained for months. Maya, don't be like this, she pleaded, aware now that perhaps she had miscalculated. I placed the planner on the table between us. Everything you need is in here. Vendor contacts, timelines, payment schedules. Cassidy can handle it from here. But you're still a bridesmaid, right? You'll still help? I looked at her, really looked at her, perhaps for the first time. Her perfect features suddenly seemed shallow, her concerned expression nothing more than practiced charm. Congratulations on your wedding, Rebecca, I said quietly. Then I walked out, the silver gardenia brooch weighing heavily on my lapel. That evening, I sat on my balcony as rain pattered against the awning. The sky had darkened early, matching my mood. I unpinned the gardenia brooch and held it in my palm, studying its intricate silver petals. Secret love. How fitting that Rebecca had given me a symbol of hidden affection when she had never truly seen me at all. I didn't cry. I didn't call her. I didn't post cryptic social media messages or seek sympathy from mutual friends. Instead, I made a cup of tea. Chamomile this time, not Earl Grey, and opened my laptop. With calm, deliberate keystrokes, I drafted resignation emails to every wedding responsibility I had committed to the florist who had been working with me on arrangements. Due to unforeseen circumstances, please direct all further correspondence to the bride or her maid of honor. To the caterer who had been accommodating Rebecca's ever-changing menu requests. Thank you for your patience. Going forward, please contact Rebecca directly. To the bridesmaids group chat, where I had been coordinating dresses and schedules, Rebecca has made some changes to the wedding party. Please congratulate Cassidy on her new role as maid of honor. No explanations, no drama, just facts and a clear boundary. Then I did something I had never done before. I blocked Rebecca's number. Not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. I knew she would call when she realized the magnitude of what she had delegated, and I knew I would cave if I heard her voice. Years of being the reliable one had conditioned me to put her needs above my own. Not this time. I slept deeply that night, the silence of my phone a strange new lullaby. 2 weeks passed. Spring bloomed fully outside my window, but I hardly noticed, immersed in my work at the botanical garden. I had volunteered for extra projects, finding solace in the quiet company of plants that asked nothing of me but water and light. The orchid, on my windowsill, stubborn for so long, surprised me one morning with a single perfect bloom, pale pink with delicate purple veining. I took it as a small victory, a reminder that some things flourish in their own time. I was documenting a new shipment of rare ferns when my colleague mentioned an upcoming event. The Lincoln Foundation is hosting a gala next Friday to raise funds for urban green spaces, she said. They specifically requested our expertise on sustainable landscaping. I recommended you. I hesitated. Social events had always been Rebecca's domain. I was the one who helped her prepare, who held her purse while she danced, who called the Uber at the end of the night. I don't think I'm the right person for that, I said automatically. She looked at me oddly. You're literally the only person qualified. Unless you have plans? I didn't have plans. I hadn't had plans that didn't involve Rebecca for years. I'll do it, I said finally, surprising myself. The night of the gala, I wore a simple emerald dress that I had bought years ago, but never had the confidence to wear. My gardenia brooch remained in its box at home. A chapter closed. Instead, I wore a pair of small pearl earrings that had belonged to my grandmother, a woman who had lived quietly but purposefully. The venue was transformed into an indoor garden, with living walls and elaborate botanical displays. I found myself relaxing as I moved among the greenery, explaining the ecological benefits of various plants to genuinely interested attendees. For once, I wasn't anyone's shadow or support system. I was simply myself, sharing knowledge I was proud of. The way you described the symbiotic relationship between those fungi and tree roots was fascinating, a voice said behind me. I turned to find Daniel, Rebecca's Daniel, holding 2 glasses of champagne. He offered one to me, his expression warm but cautious. I accepted it, momentarily speechless. I didn't expect to see you here, I finally said. I'm representing my firm. We're considering funding some of the foundation's initiatives. He paused, studying me. You look different. I'm wearing lipstick, I said dryly. He laughed, the sound genuine. No, that's not it. You seem present, like you're finally taking up the space you deserve. I blinked, surprised by his perception. I didn't realize you ever noticed what space I took up. I've always noticed you, Maya, he said quietly. It was hard not to, even when you were trying so hard to be invisible. The conversation shifted to safer topics, the foundation's work, mutual acquaintances, the unusually warm spring. But something had changed. For the first time, I was speaking with Daniel as Maya, not as Rebecca's friend. As the evening ended, he asked if he could call me sometime. I hesitated, ethical considerations immediately surfacing. Aren't you getting married in 3 weeks? I asked. His expression shifted, confusion replacing warmth. Maya, Rebecca, and I broke up a week after your coffee meeting. She didn't tell you? The ground seemed to tilt beneath me. No, I said carefully. We haven't spoken. He shook his head, incredulous. She told everyone it was mutual, but the truth is, I ended it. After what she did to you, he trailed off. Let's just say it, showed me who she really is, and who she isn't. I stood there, champagne glass forgotten in my hand, as the implications settled around me like falling leaves. "I'd like to hear more," I said finally. "But not as Rebecca's ex. Just as yourself." He smiled, relief evident in his eyes. "I'd like that too." Over the following months, Daniel and I cultivated a cautious friendship that gradually blossomed into something deeper. We were both conscious of our shared history, careful not to build our connection on the foundation of what had happened with Rebecca. We spoke of books and films, exchanged stories of childhood, shared professional challenges and triumphs. I learned that he had a passion for historical architecture, that he volunteered teaching chess to kids in underserved communities, that he could recite Pablo Neruda poems in the original Spanish. He was nothing like the peripheral figure I had known as Rebecca's fiancé, and he learned about me, not the reliable shadow who organized events and remembered everyone's preferences, but the woman who could identify hundreds of plant species by their leaves alone, who secretly wrote poetry, who had once hitchhiked across New Zealand. 6 months into our relationship, Rebecca resurfaced. I was leaving work when I saw her waiting beside my car, looking exactly as she always had, perfectly put together, her expression a practiced blend of contrition and charm. "Maya," she called, as if we had seen each other yesterday. "You look great." I stopped a few feet away, keys clutched in my hand. "What are you doing here, Rebecca?" "I miss my best friend," she said simply. "I made a mistake. A huge, stupid mistake. But that's what best friends do, right? Make mistakes and forgive each other." I said nothing, just looked at her steadily. "I heard you're seeing Daniel," she continued, a slight edge entering her voice. "That was unexpected." "Yes," I agreed. "It was." She stepped closer. "Everyone thinks you did it to get back at me. Stealing my ex as revenge." "I don't care what everyone thinks," I said, surprising myself with how true it was. "Well, I've been thinking we should clear the air, start fresh, maybe get coffee this weekend. I have so much to tell you about Paris. I went there after the wedding was canceled, connected with some of Cassidy's friends." She continued talking, assuming my agreement as she always had. I studied her as she spoke, noting how unchanged she was. Still beautiful, still charismatic, still completely self-centered. But the power she had once held over me, that magnetic pull that had kept me in orbit around her needs, was gone. "No," I said quietly. She stopped mid-sentence. "What?" "I don't want to get coffee. I don't want to start fresh. Our friendship wasn't healthy, Rebecca. I was convenient until I wasn't." "That's not fair," she protested. "I was going through a lot with the wedding pressure. I made one mistake." "It wasn't one mistake," I interrupted, my voice calm. "It was a pattern. I just didn't see it until that day at the cafe." She stared at me, genuinely confused by my refusal to fall back into our old dynamic. "So that's it? 10 years of friendship thrown away?" "The friendship ended when you decided I wasn't aesthetically pleasing enough to stand next to you on your wedding day," I said. "But I should thank you for that. It helped me see what I deserved." I unlocked my car and got in, rolling down the window as she stood there, speechless for once. "I hope you find what you're looking for, Rebecca. I really do." Then I drove away, watching her figure grow smaller in my rearview mirror. On a crisp autumn day, a year later, Daniel and I stroll through the botanical garden where we now both volunteer on weekends. The late afternoon sun filters through the maple trees, casting everything in a warm golden glow. His hand is steady in mine as we reach the Japanese garden section, my favorite with its carefully pruned bonsai and reflective koi pond. "I have something for you," he says, reaching into his pocket. He pulls out a small box, and my breath catches. But when he opens it, it's not a ring inside, but a brooch, a silver gardenia, almost identical to the one I had put away. "I know what this flower symbolized before," he says, his eyes meeting mine. "Secret love. But I thought we could give it a new meaning." I take the brooch, turning it over in my palm. The craftsmanship is exquisite, the silver petals catching the light. Gardenias also symbolize trust and clarity, he continues. They're about seeing and being seen for who you truly are. That's what you've taught me. I pin the brooch to my sweater, emotion welling in my throat. It's beautiful. Thank you. We continue our walk, passing a wedding taking place in the garden's central pavilion. The bride is radiant, surrounded by friends who look genuinely happy to be supporting her. I feel no envy, no regret, not even a twinge of what might have been. Just appreciation for this moment, this path that led me here. Later that evening, as we prepare dinner in my apartment, now our apartment, a text arrives from an unknown number. I recognize the writing style immediately, heard you and Daniel moved in together. I'm happy for you, I mean that. I've been doing some thinking about how I treated you. You deserved better. No need to respond. Just wanted you to know. R.I. show, Daniel the message, and he raises an eyebrow. Are you going to answer? I consider it for a moment, then set the phone down. No, I say, returning to chopping vegetables. There's nothing left to say. He nods, understanding. The past is past. Exactly, I agree, my hand brushing against the silver gardenia at my collar. Outside, the stubborn orchid that once refused to bloom now displays 3 perfect flowers, their faces turned toward the setting sun. I've learned that some plants need specific conditions to thrive, the right amount of light, the perfect balance of water, the appropriate growing medium. People aren't so different. I've stopped trying to bloom in shadows. I've stopped believing that love means making yourself smaller, or that friendship requires self-erasure. The woman who once organized her life around others' needs hasn't disappeared. She simply repotted herself. Somewhere with better light, richer soil, and room to grow in every direction. The gardenia brooch catches the kitchen light, no longer a symbol of secret, unrequited devotion, but a reminder of being truly seen. Not as someone's reliable shadow or convenient support, but as myself, complex, worthy, and finally, unapologetically visible.